Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, as the title says, I'm going to be talking about how I published 4 books. Now, the first 3 were poetry books, but the 4th and final one that was published in December, that was a full-length novel. You know what? I'm going to tell a story. That's what I'm going to do, because I don't think steps work when you have decided I'm going to self-publish and then these are the 50 steps you need to do in exact order. I don't think that that's real. So it depends on your backlog and your genre. So those 2 main things, backlog and genre. What steps you're going to take first and what you're going to do in the middle and, you know, all that stuff. Last week of January, I decided I'm not going to be on Wattpad anymore. I'm going to self-publish because there were just things going on that I did not like. I wanted to be 100% my own boss. So instead of announcing that, because what was really, you know, happening on Wattpad is the majority of readers are teenagers. There are certainly adults, so don't come after me saying that it's not all teenagers. I know, I was on it for like almost 4 years. Okay, so I know it well, but a lot of them are teenagers, and even the adults, both teenagers and adults, expect free stuff. Okay, so it still is a bit of a troubling conversation with a lot of people saying on there that I deserve free books, and why are you in paid stories, or why are you going to Wattpad Books where they publish the book? I want the story free. Okay, not for me, right? So instead of announcing that on that I'm gonna self-publish my whole backlog and just take my stuff down, didn't do that. I just deleted Wattpad. I also did the same for Twitter, because it was the Wattpad and Twitter were the same thing, and Twitter is a cesspool of BS and drama, and I did not want the people to follow me that wanted free stuff and were very gossipy and all that other stuff going on. Easily follow me, my website, and my other, you know, newer branding social media stuff. Now you can certainly find me if you remember my name, but usually they just remember my Wattpad screen name, so I have some random people come in, like follow me on Goodreads, but other than that, they haven't found me, the thousands of people that were reading my stuff. Because when you say, honestly, when I think a lot of them, as we just discussed, they're expecting free stuff, and even if I have, you know, like the ebook is on sale for $2.99 or whatever it was, 99 cents. Let's say, even if it's 99 cents, they're still a bit hesitant, even though it's 99 cents, because they have in their minds free. Because the vast majority of the books and all that stuff on Wattpad are free. So that's the story of in the very beginning of January of last year. And then I spoke to my friend through Goodreads, and I said, you know, that I'm going to self-publish and I'm going to focus on Amazon, and if I, you know, want to in the future, I'll go wide. And so he suggested 2 things that are extremely important to get yourself off that ledge and decide to fly out of your nest, your comfort nest, into self-publishing, is 20 books to 50K group on Facebook, and David Gaughran. Now, I have mentioned both of those before in the past with, you know, certain writing videos, but those are seriously the 2 that really changed everything. So I did David Gaughran's full free course on self-publishing and marketing, and I went through all of the free files and videos and read just, I don't know, probably hundreds of posts on the 20 books to 50K Facebook group. David Gaughran's advice of switching to MailerLite and Namecheap, which I still have today, and it's very solid. I had MailChimp and it was a hot mess. But what happened, where I lost 3 months, so January, February, March, couldn't do anything regarding my website and my mailing list, so I lost 3 months because MailChimp having to, I don't even remember the term, but it's like a spam law or something, like transferring the domain or something. I should remember this, but I kind of blacked it out because I was really upset because I lost the first 3 months of last year by just waiting for my domain to be switched over to Namecheap. So that was a learning curve. See, you have to learn stuff when you hit a brick wall and you smack your face and you break your nose. You're like, okay, instead of being upset and crying or being angry, I decided not to do that, and I studied, and that's when I did the free course through David Gaughran and read a bunch of stuff on the Facebook group I was talking about. I published Paradise Found in like the spring of 2021, and that did actually very well. I was surprised because I already knew going in that poetry is very niche, and where you get followers and fans for poetry is on Instagram. I don't have Instagram. I don't want Instagram because I only have one social media outlet that is personal, that is on my phone. I need to have social media outlets that I can use that are not on my phone. And now this is like if you've watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix, you understand why, but I like reality. And I know myself, because I grew up on the internet, that I can become very addicted. So that is also a thing that you have to think about. For me, I can't do social media outlets that I must use on my phone. So that means no Instagram. So that means I slowly have gained a following for my poetry, not something that took a few months. The 3 poetry books have done fairly well, considering I'm not on Instagram, not on Twitter, not on Pinterest. I don't actually post snippets, which I could, but I don't post snippets on Facebook. I should get into that. Duh. But, you know, posting the poetry snippets on Facebook, I've heard is not, I mean, it helps, but it's not like Instagram, you know. The poets are on Instagram except me. That's what I've been told. Now, has royalties gone down because I decided I'm not gonna, you know, do Instagram and put it on my phone and all that stuff? Yeah. But I am thinking long term, and I am thinking about my mental health, and that is the price to pay. I wouldn't even say the price to pay. That is what I have chosen. I'm not ever going to be on Instagram because it requires you to have it on your phone. Not for me mentally, emotionally, and even physically, because I know myself and not going to work. And that, I mean, also the fact of getting rid of Twitter and Wattpad, actually, which is funny, but getting rid of both those kind of cold turkey, I have way more time to focus on writing, editing, marketing, and studying up on self-publishing overall. So could I have also sold more books or something on Twitter, which is not really where you get the sales anyway, but let's just say I could have sold 20 more books on Twitter if I marketed, you know, like what I was doing. That's not worth it because I don't have a lot of time because I'm tweeting out marketing stuff, but does the marketing even work? You really have to do the math. Like, okay, I sold 20 books in 2 months, but how many times did I tweet and how many hours did I lose from writing by tweeting? So this is something that you have to also really think about. How much time are you wasting when you could be writing? Or editing. This is the important part regarding self-publishing, is what is the best use of your time? And you have to honestly get organized and become really disciplined, or else you're just wasting your time. You're wasting a lot of time. And now people will probably argue, oh, well, I'm making friends on Twitter or Instagram. Okay, no. So that's what I thought, first, second year when I was on Twitter. But when I disappeared, maybe like 5 people found me on Goodreads, and that was it. And how many followers did I have? I had 3,500. They don't care. Sorry, like they don't care. You're not marketing unless you're going to reach out to all those followers that you think that are actually friends with you, and maybe they'll say something back to you. But no, I mean, you're not making real connections. You're making connections, but you're not making real connections. And that's the problem with social media, and especially in the writing community on Twitter. They're just using you, honestly, to boost their engagement overall, and also including followers and all of that stuff. Tweets, likes, whatever. It doesn't help. So, published the second poetry book. It got #1 in new releases for contemporary poetry. Very nice. And then the second one, not the second one, I still get confused. The third poetry book, very niche. It's love poems in the form of text messages. So it's textual love. The connection. Did fairly well too, but not as big as the second novel. And then the final poetry book, Teal Nostalgia, I actually got ARC readers because I was trying to do like a different types of how this works. I got more pre-orders on Paradise Found, and that's how it jumped up to #1 spot. Textual Love was average, didn't get as many pre-orders, but I don't blame anyone, by the way, because they are very niche and within the niche genre of poetry. So the only one that is full-length poems that you can say this is poetry is Teal Nostalgia, but it can be very triggering if you have PTSD from childhood trauma. So that is also something that I wanted to try out for ARC readers. So there were people that were saying, yes, you should really abide by the content warnings in the front of this novel, because I really did not want to have anyone go head first thinking it's like the other 3 poetry novels, because it's not. Teal Nostalgia was the one in the beginning that had the most reviews on Goodreads and Amazon, but I was very surprised to see Textual Love jump up. But how did I do that? I will tell you. First off, it was the giveaway, the Amazon free book giveaway, that I used 2 very good promo sites, Book Raid and Written Word Media, and I got about 700 total downloads. And then during that time, I created an Amazon ad for it. So that Amazon ad is still going strong a few months later, and Textual Love is one of the most popular of my poetry books. And then Teal Nostalgia is second most popular. So Teal Nostalgia was published in September of last year, and then I finally had everything together for my novel, historical fiction novel, A Patriot's Tale. And so I published it on December 7th, but I had ARC readers 3 months in advance. So I really wanted, some reviews off the bat, because it's just a bit easier to get people to click it, especially if it's the first, debut novel. Technically it's not for me, but it is for everyone that doesn't know me. It is a debut. And so that was really helpful. And I also did Amazon ads for A Patriot's Tale, and that one is doing great with ebooks and Kindle Unlimited. Those are my main ones. But then people that know me in real life, they're doing the paperbacks. Actually, not everyone that's ordering the paperbacks knows me in real life. I have some friends online that do the paperbacks, so they can say, look, I have your book. It's really cute. December 7th was the day that Amazon decided to have a tantrum. So, luckily I had quite a few pre-orders for Patriot's Tale, and that helped. But it was dead after, the pre-orders hit, because Amazon was down for like 6 hours. So I couldn't, I still can't gauge what it could have been. I don't know, because nothing was working. The ads weren't working. Nothing was working. Goodreads wasn't even working, so I couldn't even announce on Goodreads. It was a hot mess. Luckily, I had one ad that did fine for it, but yeah, I can't say, either or if, if it could have been better. But it was fine, considering one full day, that release day, it just all broke. So I tried to hit hard the last, 4 days of the release week, but, you can only do so much. The thing that I learned about self-publishing is versus traditional publishing is self-publishing, you can relaunch, you can do specials and promos, and because it's all on you, you can get that back. You can get, the work that you put in, and it didn't work out very well because of XYZ reasons. Well, do it in a couple months and then do it even better, and you can have a successful marketing plan and get your name and your brand out there, which is extremely hard for traditional publishing because they don't really do that. I think maybe, which is really interesting, if you go on BookBub, I follow Agatha, Christine, Philippa, Gregory, and Neil Gaiman. They do it on whoever they are. They do promos all the time on BookBub for 99 cents or $1.99 for those 3 particular writers. And they're making money, because even if you have a promo for 99 cents for Coraline, for example, but you put it out there, especially on BookBub, because that's where BookBub is, where people go for those deals, right? You put it out on BookBub, you're gonna make something. So whoever does the marketing or whatever they call it for traditional publishing for Neil Gaiman and Philippa Gregory, big thumbs up for them, because they're doing what self-publishers are doing all the time on a daily basis. They're just, churning out promos for particular books. And then the backlog is what's really important, because, Philippa Gregory and Neil Gaiman have huge backlogs. So they can just, even if they promo 5 books in a year, how many other books are people going to buy at full price? So this is another thing that's really important. And it's going to be fantastic for this year, 2022, because I'll be publishing The Two Foxes and Danu's Curse. So 2 books in 1 year. I'm really just waiting for the proofreading and the, well, 1 book cover for The Two Foxes. So it's going to be a fun year. And it's not a huge backlog, but I am actually seeing backlog reads for the poetry book. I publish, a Patriot's Tale, and maybe someone is into poetry and they are interested in getting to know me, so then they'll, choose whichever poetry book that I have. Now, it's not a huge backlog, but it is significant enough that I can tell based on my stats, and when, people finish a Patriot's Tale, then, like right after or a day after, they'll choose, one of the poetry books. It's very fascinating to see that on my Amazon author dashboard, and it makes me smile. So really the takeaway is, just because you have bumps in the road, or maybe you have to climb a really big mountain, does not mean that you give up in self-publishing or that you're doing a bad job. Like for the December 7th failure, that wasn't me. So that just means, sometime in 2022, I do another relaunch if I want to. And it's perfectly okay to say, I messed up, but the good thing for self-publishing is if you get yourself together after that mess up, like maybe you did your own book cover, which is not recommended. So but let's say you did your own book cover and you didn't do any promo sites, or like you didn't really plan it out, you just published, and you're like, oh, okay, I messed up after doing your research or doing David's free course. But the story's great. So you redo everything that you messed up on and you do it correctly. There are many writers that do that, but then they go on to have a great career. What's important is to get it right the first time, just so you don't have to spend extra money and, you're wasting time and all of that. But even if you do that, that doesn't mean that you can't, rectify what you did and become successful. The whole 20 books to 50K is, you need a backlog of 20 books. But if you have a backlog of 20 books and, people are buying it, I forgot what it was. Is it set like $10 a day or something throughout the 20 books? Or it was less than $10, whatever it is. I'm not great with math and I don't have a great memory. But, if you have 20 books and you're making money every single day, then you can add up to $50,000 a year, right? So that's the goal. That's the idea of the title and the plan. The plan is backlog. So I'm excited to get a mini backlog for 2022. And then I'm also very excited in 2023 to start a series. Oh, I dropped something on you all. I'm not going to say much on that because that's a year away and we just started 2022. But I will be talking about quite frequently on my chosen platforms about The Two Foxes and Danu's Curse. And I'm really looking forward to doing everything I can to make my second and third book thrive. And I really am just looking forward to 2022 and getting better at self-publishing, marketing, all that jazz. It's going to be exciting. Thank you so much for watching and have a great reading and writing day. Bye!